Hello everyone and welcome back to another episode of My Team. In this one we are at Canada, which is definitely one of my favourite tracks. Absolutely love this place. And if you saw last episode you will have known that we found it pretty tricky at Monaco. I mean, it's a difficult track as it is, but yeah, we got a bit spanked there. And I went and did some practice races for Canada as well, and I was still getting absolutely spanked as well. So I've had to make the decision of reducing it from 105 down to 100, and hopefully that just means that we can be a little bit more competitive this weekend. Alright then, let's jump straight into this episode. So to start off with, we have a new sponsor available because we've reached acclaim level 5 or 6, and I decided to go with Polar because I really like the look of Polar, and we can also easily do that gold bonus, which is basically just to get 10 laps over a race weekend, which means that we should get quite a bit of money for not doing much. Sounds exactly like something we need at the moment, a bit more money coming in. And yeah, there it is on the car. And yeah, so we've got it on the front nose, the rear wing and the front wing, as well as the top of the engine cover, which I think looks actually pretty good. So yeah, very happy with that. And we also decided to do some upgrades. We decided to do the monocoque structure on the chassis side of stuff because it had a bit of a reduction. And yeah, that should come after the Canadian Grand Prix. And that is quite a big upgrade. So it should move us above Alpine and into midfield in terms of chassis, which is pretty good going. But always we have something failing. And this time it's another Aero part, so it's the rear wing outer strakes. And yeah, that's a bit annoying as we then have to go and spend 223 extra R&D points to redo it out of our 244 points left over. So we literally have like no points left over. And also that is going to come after this race weekend as well. So yeah, no upgrades for this weekend. And then we had another department event, and basically it was we have to do some extra overtime just to get a part reduction through. And I kind of said yes because we kind of need all the boosts we can get, but it will affect our morale a little bit, which isn't ideal. But yeah, sorry Ben, you're gonna have to do some extra hours for us. And yeah, if you're wondering what minus 20 morale looks like, is actually low morale, +2 for failure chance, and then +4% for build time. But we have now got 43% off the ignition system, which I think is definitely worth it. And then we went straight into practice after that, and we found yet another bug. I know, another one. So as you can see, we're doing around 198 on the back straight there, which is quite slow. And this is in a quali sim, by the way, and we are, nearly 1.4 seconds slower than the estimated time. So I was thinking, something's definitely not right there. So I went out and did it again. And basically, I found that the ERS system isn't working properly. So I had to go and turn it off to none and then back up to hot lap. And I did the fuel as well, just to double check everything. And then on the next time round, you can see we're currently green. And at the bottom there, we're doing 206 miles an hour this time on the back straight. And we are over a tenth up. So yeah, I'm not sure what that's all about, but if you have that, that's kind of the way around it that I found anyway. So yeah, we managed to complete that. We didn't purple it. We purpled the other two. But yeah, just managed to do the qualifying practice, or qualifying pace was important to us. So we managed to get that done. And then after the practice run, we then realised that there is rain this weekend. So in the race, we're going to have mixed conditions, but in qualifying it's pretty much dry. So I was thinking about this. Do we take a gamble and try and make it work so we're good in the race, in the wet, but we'll be awful in qualifying, or we just stick with the dry condition setup and hope that we do well in qualifying and hope that we can kind of do something in the race? Yeah, not really sure at the moment. We also decided to take some new components for the unit, for the power unit, because they're quite badly worn. So we've got a new ICE, a new MGU-K, MGU-H, and a turbocharger for this weekend. Alright, so here we are in the garage, and normally we'd be out on a track by now, but we've got a fault with the fuel system, which I was kind of hoping isn't related to anything we've done in terms of the new components we put in, but hey, we'll see what happens. We've also decided to go for a wet weather setup, which you can find in the description as well. So here we are going for our first lap, and yeah, I just kind of wanted to talk to you guys about how you're finding this game really, because it's been out for about a month now. And I'm still struggling with it, I think. I don't know if it's any different for wheel players, but me definitely on a controller, I feel like this game is a lot more challenging than it was last year. Like, I just struggle to be quick. And if I'm quick, I'm not then consistent. And it might just be that it's a new game, possibly that. and I'm just being a bit moany, but yeah, I definitely feel like this one has been much harder to pick up. And also I've had some mates that play it as well, and they haven't really had F1 games before, and they've kind of just struggled to pick it up as well, which, I mean, yeah, it could just be that it's new and everyone's getting used to it, but yeah, let me know what you think in the comments, and also let me know what you're playing on, whether that's a wheel, keyboard, controller, joystick, whatever you guys use, because I know a lot of you use whatever you can get your hands on, so yeah, fair play to you. But yeah, this lap, going back to the qualifying, has been okay. I mean, have got a wet weather setup, so I'm not really expecting anything blisteringly quick. But yeah, it's been okay. Nothing really too bad. I mean, we did miss the hairpin a little bit, if you were paying attention to that. But yeah, where does that put us? That's put us 19th. Currently above our teammate, which is impressive. And yeah, so 19th above our teammate, who is currently back out on track. So he probably had a poor lap, because I was expecting him to be quicker than that, because we are on a slow setup. But if we can qualify 19th or 20th above Latifi and Mazepin, that would be pretty solid. But we'll have to see what happens. And yeah, it wasn't long before we went back out for our second lap, and we botched it up because we cut the chicane far too much, and that was our lap time over, really, and qualifying over. And unfortunately, that meant we did qualify last, which is a little bit annoying, but our teammate got up to 19th, which is good. But yeah, a bit annoyed. At the back of the grid, we really have to hope that it rains, and it rains quite hard, because if it doesn't and it's half dry tomorrow, we are going to be so slow again. So I really hope that my gamble has paid off. But anyway, let's head to the race.
Bonjour! It's time once again to go racing here in Montreal, the second largest French-speaking city in the world, and home since 1978 to the Canadian Grand Prix. Let's run you through the driver grid order for today's exciting race. An immense lap from Lewis Hamilton yesterday puts him on pole position, and Valtteri Bottas will line up alongside. Looking down the rest of the grid, we have Verstappen, Ricciardo, Lando Norris and Perez, Leclerc, Vettel, Stroll and Carlos Sainz, Gasly, Fernando Alonso, Yuki Tsunoda and Ocon, Raikkonen, Giovinazzi, George Russell and Mick Schumacher, Piquet, Latifi, Mazepin and Wang.
Mazepin and Wang. That seems to be the current pairing at the back of the grid for the last two races, and I was really hoping that wouldn't happen again, but it has. Hopefully it doesn't happen anymore, and we can actually be a little bit better in qualifying, but yeah, I tend to be better in the races, so we'll see how we get on. Anyway, let's quickly have a look at the race strategy, and then we'll go racing. So yeah, as you can see by the forecast at the top, the last third of the race is due to be dry. So I'm not sure if we'll be able to eke out one set of inters till that point and then put the dryers on. If not, we're going to stop on around lap 18 and yeah, put a new set of inters, and they'll probably have to put another set of slicks on at some point. But yeah, we'll see what we can do. I hope we haven't made a terrible decision by going for this wet weather setup. Anyway, that's everything done. Let's go racing at the Canadian Grand Prix. Alright, so here we are. 3 lights, 4 lights, 5 lights, engine revved, and away we go. That was a very short sequence there, as we have bogged down quite a lot at the start, although we're picking up speed now as we fly past Latifi there. That was a great one. Just nearly went to the back of Mazepin, got up the inside of quite a few cars there, and alongside George Russell, just about keep it on the track there, around the outside of the Alphas as well. We've got so much more grip than everyone else, it seems, as we get a kick of oversteer for good measure. As soon as I say that, we got grip, we get oversteer, great. And we are still battling the two Alphas going into the first chicane, and I think we've just about got through there cleanly, and we are up to 15th. What a start that is. So sit behind the Alpine of Ocon, and I think we're just going to send one up the inside. Yes, we are. That's 1, 2, and nearly 3 cars if Tsunoda lets us through. And he does. Could not get that out. Too many T's in there. And we are up to 12th. How on earth have we done that? We've got so much more grip than everyone else. This is obviously the wet weather setup coming through, and it is paying a lot of dividends early on, as we are going slightly wide there, managed to not get a track limit. So maybe they're a little bit more lenient in the wet. But yeah, normally that is a track limit. But yeah, dropping back behind Sainz, although we set one up the inside coming from way back there. So now we are up to 11th, and that means we have got half the grid in one lap. What is going on? I feel like Kimi Raikkonen at Portimao, was it last season? Unbelievable. As Sainz nearly came back at us. I assume he will come back at us at some point, because there's no way we are quicker than a Ferrari. Maybe in the wet we are, I don't know, but yeah, that Ferrari I assumed to be all over us going in. Oh, we did get track limits that time. And we kissed the Wall of Champions there as well. Hopefully we didn't get any damage. We're just checking that now. And no, we didn't. So managed to just bump the wheel on the Wall of Champions there. But at the end of lap 1, we are P11. But that is insane. And Sainz is quite close to the back of us there. You can see the top right-hand corner. Now as though we switch. And this is a couple of laps later. And we do manage to kind of keep Sainz behind us as we do a bit of a slide there going out of turn 2. And again, but yeah, so Sainz seems to be quite quick in the first part of the lap, which isn't really ideal as he puts us under a lot of pressure. But then coming to the hairpin, you can see we managed to gain quite a lot of time here. So managed to get the power down quite well without it slipping too much. And look, he was about a tenth behind us and he's already half a second, 6 tenths, nearly 7 tenths already. And we've actually caught up towards the back of Stroll as well. So we're actually closer to Stroll now than we are to Sainz. So yeah, we get great traction out of that hairpin and in the last sector, and that seems to be what's keeping the Ferrari behind us. I don't think we have the pace to catch the Astons, but as we're going over the line, we do a purple sector 3, so that shows you just how quick we are with this setup in the wet. Yeah, we're absolutely flying in the last sector there, which is insane really. And on to lap 7 now, and we are still P11 as we nearly lost the car there, but we are very slow going in that chicane. You can see Sainz is already all over the back of us, and he's still got all the quick bit, or for him, of the track, because we're not that quick here as we go a little bit wide, and Sainz nearly went around the outside there, and we are going to come under a bit of an attack here, although there is no DRS because it is in the wet, so we might just be able to fend him off. Going under the bridge, he's a bit too far back. We have taken quite a defensive line there in the middle of the road, so we are going to be slow, and that's going to allow Sainz to get past us. As you can see, the tyres are starting to go off now as well, up to 20% on the rears, and that is Sainz actually past us. We're going to try and be later than him on the brakes. Hopefully we can just half keep it close to the apex, and we are back past him, and we should get good traction, and I think we have managed to salvage that. But that was lucky. That was a poor first half of the lap. And we have somehow managed to still keep Sainz behind us. And yeah, same thing again. Look, Sainz is all over the back of us going in the first couple of sectors, which is really not ideal. I mean, if we could pull out a little bit, that would be good. But he's constantly putting pressure on us. And then we come into the hairpin. And this seems to be our one real strong point of the Grand Prix so far. And it just seems to be keeping us in that 11th place. But yeah, as you can see, we're on lap 11 now. And the two Astons ahead are starting to pull away from us quite easily, but we're still kind of just about managing to keep Sainz behind us. I have no idea how we're doing it, really, other than the fact that we'd literally just got, oh, that is Valtteri Bottas, and that is his race done. That is not good news for the Finn. So here we are on board. Let's just have a quick listen. So something's just given up there. I'm not 100% sure because there's no smoke or anything. But yeah, the power unit and that Mercedes is pretty poor at the start of my team, sorry. So it could just literally be that. The reliability is terrible, and that has cost the Finn some decent points there, as he was third. It did bring out a virtual safety car and promoted us to 10th. So currently, we will be getting 1 point in this crazy race for us. I don't know how we're doing this, because our car definitely shouldn't be up there. The virtual safety car wasn't around for long. And I'm not very good at the restarts of virtual safety cars. I've always been a little bit slow, and that means that Sainz is right on the rear of us again, which really is not ideal. Is he going to go for a move going into the hairpin? We'll have a look. It's going to go nearly 3 wide. I think that's Alonso there as well. We've gone in way too hot. That's going to allow Sainz to have the inside. We will have a bit more speed carried around because we did go wide. And I think we have just about managed to keep Sainz behind again. He's going to be absolutely fuming because he knows he's probably much quicker than us. But literally just because we can get the power down coming out of the hairpin, he can't seem to get past us. And, oh, someone's gone up for a lunge up the inside. That is Alonso. That must have been from way back because he was quite far behind Sainz as well. Luckily, I don't think we've got any damage there, but he's still right on us as we go into turn 1. I think we have just about managed to keep him behind us there, but that was from way back. It must have been. But yeah, we're going to have a look at that again. So this is on board Alonso. You see he's absolutely chucking it down. And yeah, he's getting a little bit of a slipstream from Sainz. I assume he's just going to send it up the inside. He does. So, Sainz goes defensive, and he's just way too late on the brakes and actually comes into the side of us. Luckily, and then we have a kick of oversteer as well for good measure. But yeah, luckily, I don't think we got any damage from that. I don't think he did either. There is another angle. Yeah, he's just gone in way too hot. I mean, that could have been a bad one, and that would have been us possibly out of the points if that was a bad one.
We're expecting the rain to hit us any time now. Current forecast is 5 or 10 more minutes of rain before it dries up. Inters seem like the fastest tyre for now.
Yeah, so just confirm what Jeff said. So on lap 17, so our tyres are starting to go off, and I was interested to see what would happen. But yeah, 5 or 10 minutes more of rain pretty much means that it's going to be wet for a little bit longer yet. So we're definitely not going to be able to eke these tyres out. We're definitely going to have to come in at some point. But I'm in an iron about when to come in, as Alonso, who went into the side of us, I don't think he got any damage, but he's coming to the pits, as has a lot of other cars. So they've just come in for their regular pit stop. So we are now promoted to 8th, as our teammate enters the pits as well. So yeah, currently this is going pretty well. And on lap 18 going into lap 19, more cars come into the pits, as this is actually the lap where we decided to come into the pits to change our tyres, and we are now 7th. So at this point I was really thinking, oh, do we just stay on these slower tyres and then see if we can get a free pit stop later on when it dries out, if it dries out. And I think the fact that it was still raining, I was like, everyone else is going to be so much quicker than us, we're just going to need to put on some new inters and just play it safe. I mean, we could possibly even get a point at this point, which is a funny sentence to say. So yeah, I think we're just going to play it safe and put on some new inters, and if we have to stop again, we will stop again, because everyone else is going to stop anyway. So yeah, we'll just play it safe, and hopefully we haven't lost too much time by taking a little while to come into the pits. But we are coming out P12 at the moment, behind Tsunoda, although we just got past him, and we're actually about a second and a half behind Alonso, so we have lost out quite a bit there. We just have to hope that we can get half close to Alonso going into the hairpin, and then we might be able to just get better traction like we did with Sainz. Ooh, I thought we were going to slide into the back of Alonso there. Yeah, and see if we can do anything here. So this is the strong bit of the track for us, because we can just get out of the hairpin so much quicker. And I assume that's purely down to the setup. I don't think there's anything else that really would do that. And I assume that they've just all stuck with dry setups. But yeah, we're a bit too far back to make a move here. See if we can get close to him coming out of the chicane. I think we are a little bit too far back. I'll be surprised if we can go for one into turn 1. But you never know. We are much later on the brakes. We are very close. But yeah, no, that's way too far back. Unless we did an Alonso-like dive, we're not going to get past him there. And we actually got stuck behind Alonso for quite a few laps. So now on lap 24. And yeah, still behind Alonso, but we are much closer to him this time. So we're going to give it maximum ERS. And hopefully, with a bit of slipstream, we might be able to make half a move here. So we are very close. Going to try and go up the inside, I believe, and that should give us a better line-ish. We slammed on the brakes later than him, and wow, I was not expecting that. We literally just sailed past him. Where did that come from? I thought we'd be much slower, but obviously Alonso just couldn't turn in because we were there, and that means we're back up into P10. What a result that is. Yeah, I was a bit shocked by that.
No rain expected. No rain expected for the time being. Inters look like the best tyre for now.
So yeah, we jumped forward quite a few laps, but yeah, I wasn't expecting that move on Alonso. I was a bit shocked by that. But yeah, with 5 laps to go, Jeff is telling us no more rain is expected, and we are 10 seconds behind Stroll and about 2 seconds ahead of Alonso. So this is going to be a bit interesting now towards the end of the race, because we're going to start burning out our inters quite soon, and literally as soon as I say that, we are burning out our inters very quickly. So with 2.5 laps to go, we need to make a call whether we come in for slicks or not. I'm leaning towards not, as DRS has been enabled, which is pretty much the signal that the track is now dry enough and that you can switch over to slick tyres. So yeah, this is going to be tricky now, because we are in a points place position, and I don't really want to lose this by taking a gamble or not taking a gamble. As the leaders are coming in, so that is Max and Lewis, who are 1 and 2. They have come in for slick tyres. So yeah, it's going to be interesting now, coming towards the end of the penultimate lap, and more cars are now stopping. So I decided not to come in, and I'm going to try and eke these tyres out to the end of the race. As Vettel has also had the same idea as me. He's just going to stay out on the inters and see if he can do the same, but he is obviously 12 seconds down the road. And we are now up to 8th on the last lap, but we are going to be very quickly hunted down by Pierre Gasly in the AlphaTauri, and there he is. He's absolutely flying on those medium tyres now, which is not a fun sight for us at all. So yeah, this is not going to be fun now, as Gasly's already within a second, which is absolutely ridiculous. So he's probably going to get past us relatively easy. Oh, as we cut towards the race at the front, and that is Lewis trying to go up the inside of Max there. Is he going to make that work? No, not quite, unfortunately, and that should be Max's race, although he's had a little bit of a moment there. And Lewis is trying to go around the outside. Is he going to be able to do it? I don't think he does, but that was really close. But we'll quickly go back to our action as we are now behind Gasly, and Stroll has now got past us as well. Hopefully we can just kind of stick near him and maybe get DRS off him, I think. But they have literally just sailed away. Look at them go. That's how much more grip the slick tyres have. But fortunately for us, Alonso did pit as well, and is 13 seconds behind us. So we are just going to coast home in P10. What a result that is. As long as we don't get track limits here. No, that's fine. Just took that nice and easy, and that means we are going to come home in P10 as Lance's fastest lap, and that is a point for us. A point. Where on earth did that come from? I was not expecting that. Yeah, that is an unbelievable result. I think that's purely down to taking a gamble and going for the wet weather setup. As we get driver of the day. Go on, Jumbo. But yeah, looking on board Lewis, this is right at the end. I think he probably could have just sent one up the inside, a bit like Alonso did. And then, yeah, so he's using ERS here. And then he stops using ERS. And that is him. That's the rate. He could have won that if he was a bit more aggressive going into that chicane. And that's a still there of what actually how close it was. But yeah, he could have won that if he used more ERS as well. But instead, Max ends up winning. Good job, Max. And yeah, there he is with his trophy. So who's that on the podium? That's obviously Max has won, Lewis is second, and then Lando third. Go on, Lando. So yeah, that's a great podium, that one. So yeah, with Bottas going out, that means that it's Max, Lewis, Lando, then Perez, Ricciardo, Leclerc, Vettel, Gasly, Stroll, and then us in 10th, which is crazy. And then Alonso was actually over 11 seconds behind us, so it definitely was quicker to go into mediums, but not quite quick enough for him, unfortunately. And then our teammate, who also stopped, it seems like most of the field did stop in the end, came 17th from 19th, so that's not bad at all. But if he didn't stop, he could have been a lot higher. And then quickly looking at the standings, you've got Max at the top now, ahead of Lewis by 4 points. And Valtteri Bottas, that DNF has cost him massively. So he's now 36 points behind, so he could even be out of the title race already, which is pretty unfortunate for him. And then quick looking at us there, we've now got our 1 point, which I assume will be the only point we get for the whole season, and we are 15th. And we are 8th in the constructors, with Mercedes at the top with Red Bull second. And that is going to wrap up this episode, and I'll see you guys in the next one.